Good morning. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word. I'm Barry Bryson, and we're continuing our study of the suffering servant passage in Isaiah. And we're coming towards the end of that section where God is speaking directly to the Babylonians and then secondarily to his people. And there is this moment, and didn't mention it yesterday. I should have mentioned it because it's right there in our text, where in verse 4, where as he's describing the comeuppance for the Babylonians, we have God's own people crying out, "Our Redeemer, Yahweh of hosts, Yahweh of armies is his name, the Holy One of Israel." So we have God's own people listening for a change and responding to what God says. Well, anyway, last time we were together, God described the Babylonian Empire as a virgin, as a young woman unable to defend herself, who will be herself taken captive. And there was not a description of a violation, but of shame and of servitude. You're going to grind the grain. You're going to have to hike up your skirts and carry the burdens across the water. You're going to do the jobs of a slave. That's what you're going to do. So today, he's going to continue to describe the empire as a woman who's going to be bereft of her children and her husband. He mentioned in the last section the death of men, particularly. I will not spare one man, he said. So in verses 8 through 11, he's describing that judgment and that it will come. He's already mentioned why it's necessary, how they deserve this. But then he will also, in the process, declare that he alone can make things like this happen. And that's how he's going to end the passage. He's going to say, I can do this, and no one can stop me because I alone am God. Nobody else can do what I do. So, verses 8 through 11, he transitions from this section in which he describes their punishment to the section where he describes his singularity, his onlyness as God. And this is the buckle on that belt. So let's read these verses. Now, then, hear this, you sensual one, who dwells securely, who says in your heart, I am. There is no one beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, nor shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shall come upon you suddenly in one day. And they did, really. They really did. They fell in about a day. Um, Loss of children and widowhood. They shall come on you in full measure, in spite of your many sorceries, in spite of the great power of your spells. If you felt secure in your wickedness and said, no one sees me, your wisdom and your knowledge, they have deluded you, for you have said in your heart, I am, and there is no one beside me. But evil will come, which you will not know how to charm away, and disaster will fall on you, for which you cannot atone, and destruction about which you do not know will come on you suddenly. And it did. The invasion happened that quickly after the handwriting on the wall. You can read about that in the book of Daniel. But it did. You are so smug. You are so powerful. You are so rich. And you think there are going to be days and days and days like this, but there aren't. It's going to happen. Not only will you not exist for very long, 2 generations, that was it, but when you fall, it will happen in the blink of an eye. It will happen in a single day. And God kept that promise, and it absolutely did. And there was nothing they could do about it because their gods are not gods. There's only one God, and it's Yahweh. It's the one true God, the creator of the universe, who does everything he does for the salvation of his people. Okay, he's going to build on that notion and taunt, their idolatry in verses 12 through 15 as we finish this, and then he'll speak mainly again to his own people, talk about how all these promises are going to be fulfilled and they are going to be restored. We'll pick up there with verse 12 next time. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word.